Do my eyes deceive me? Toshiro Hitsugaya, one of the most youngest individuals of Soul Society to become a captain of the Gote 13, is now a zombie slave to Gigi? I'm not sure if I can still be able to fathom this, but let's hope later on that I'm able to do so. As for now, let's start the show. Salutations, my brothers and sisters, and this is Bleach chapter number 591, entitled Marching Out the Zombies 2. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So basically the chapter starts off where Ikaku is a bit shocked at the fact that Luffy is even still alive, basically, and that he's trying to recollect the moment where he had first encountered Luffy, which was of course back in the world of the living at the time when Ikaku was with his other comrades. And then it jumps over to Yumachika, who obviously recollects killing off Charlotte Coolhorn in the past during the Fate Katakota Town arc. And that's when it jumps over to Charlotte Coolhorn, who obviously looks over towards Yumachika's direction, and he's trying to recollect as to who he was, basically. And he even goes so far as to try to break apart Yumachika's name into syllables to see if he can remember it that way. But before he even finished, the last syllable of his name, that's when he just stops and say, I cannot be able to remember someone as ugly as you, basically towards Yumachika. That's when Yumachika, of course, gets pissed off that he would even say something like that, considering the fact that he does know who he is, but he's just saying to taunt him. And then Yumachika goes to the point where he basically tells Charlotte Coolhorn that how about I should just go ahead and kill you to see that you can be able to remember me now, basically. And that's when it jumps over to Ikaku, telling him, that Yumachika, you need to calm down and not get so upset about this, and that they are now our allies, basically, and that they should no longer be treated as our enemies. And then that's when it jumps over to Dordani, who basically says that he doesn't recall it ever happening like that. And then that's when Dordani basically was on a mission of trying to, find the guy who was responsible for taking him out in the past, which was, of course, Ichigo. And Saruki basically does the same when she's trying to look for the guy who was responsible for taking her out in the past, which was, of course, the Quincy known as Uryu. And then that's when it jumps over to Luffy, who's basically trying to tell them that they should not be so concerned about as to who had took them out in the past, and that they should be more concerned about the guy who was responsible for bringing all four of them back to life. And that's when it jumps over to Mayuri Katasuchi, who takes out a little device and he presses down the button, and it shocks all three of the Arancars. And they are just so, mortified at the fact that this was even happening to them, that they thought they were just going to die on the spot. And that Luffy was just, pretty much pissed off just like everybody else. But he basically says that he barely even had time to speak that much, basically. He only had like one little simple sentence to say, like a few, basically like a few sentences to say, basically. So he was pissed off at that. And then that's when it jumps over to Mayuri Katasuchi again by saying that they should not be able to speak, basically, after receiving that little electrical shock to the brain. But that's when Dordani basically says that, that's even worse to even receive that type of punishment. And then it jumps back over to Mayuri, who basically says that he's pretty much glad to see them, acting like this, feeling so robust ever since, he was able to retrieve their bodies from Zalapado Grant's storage room. And then, of course, that's when it jumps over to Charlotte Coolhorn, who thinks that he's different from everybody else, and of course, he receives the same punishment as the other Rancor. A simple little shock to the brain. He just sits there like stunned, not even knowing what the heck just happened. So yeah, he's no different than the others. And then, of course, that's when it jumps over to Gigi, who's not really that concerned about four simple zombie Rancors going up against her army. So basically, she goes on by saying that, obviously. And when Mayuri, when he hears our statement that he was able to hear from her, basically, that's when he relays it to the Fort Roncars, and it basically gets them all hyped up, angry, and just wants to fight them even more. So that's when it jumps over to them jumping down towards the zombified Shinigami and Gigi, and of course the zombified Shinigami do the same thing too, and they just jump towards each other and they just commence, fighting basically. And then that's when it jumps over to Yumachika and Ikaku, who are, they big like a bit shocked that this is happening and that they wanted it to basically stop, because I think Yumachika spotted out saying that that it should basically stop the whole ordeal for even occurring, because these are some of the members from the 11th Division basically. And Mayuri Kodatsuchi heard what he was saying. He said it really didn't make any sense. Like, why would you even try to protect them, considering the fact that they are no longer allies to the to Soul Society basically, because now they are zombies, are under the they're under the might of Gigi basically. And he basically goes on to quote Old Man Yama's last words by saying that if you are considered an enemy of the Gote 13, you should be destroyed basically, and that if you're an ally of the Gote 13, obviously it must be protected. So basically he tried to paraphrase as to what Old Man Yama last words basically was what he was trying to say basically. And so it's kind of like I should say like a warm moment for like Mayuri. I would say like he had like some type of sympathy. I would say, yeah, some type of sympathy of even saying those words. You can even tell by the expression on his face that he truly meant these words, what he had heard from Old Man Yama say basically. So that's when Yumachika and Ikaku were able to understand as to what Mayuri was trying to say in the words of what Old Man Yama had said, and so they was able to understand that. So after that happened, it basically jumps over to the next scene where Dordani is just dodging the blood. He was trying to dodge, basically trying to dodge the blood from splashing onto his body basically. And that's when Luffy tells him that it's not really necessary to do so, because he had earlier saw some of the blood from the zombie Shinigami had splashed on Ikaku's cheek, and that it didn't really turn into a zombie. And Tsurugi even goes to tell Dordani that it doesn't really matter, considering the fact that all of us, all four of us are zombies. So it'd be pretty stupid if we were to somehow, if we could turn into a zombie, which really wouldn't happen, because obviously they're already zombies, so it really wouldn't matter. And with that being said, Dordani was able to take those words into consideration, and that just allowed him to fight out even more, to go all out basically. And while all this was happening, Gigi was trying to tend to the injured Bambi-chan. Obviously, I think she had like a missing arm, and she decided to like put a new arm on her or something. Like she was trying to like give her arm back basically, because she was pretty messed up in the previous chapter, obviously. Then that's when it jumps over to where Charlotte Coolhorn was like perched up on like a little platform looking down at Gigi, and she was just saying like Gigi basically says to him like, "You're my opponent now, and where's the shiny guy?" And and that's when Charlotte Coolhorn basically said, I think he said like, "Now I'm gonna be your opponent." And he said the only reason as to why I went after you is because you resemble me so much. And of course, Charlotte Coolhorn, the princess, obviously that's what he calls himself. Like, wow. And that's when Gigi just goes to say like, "Why?" That's when she just said like, "Why?" And that's when she tells, basically sends Bambi trying to go after Charlotte Coolhorn, and he just simply dodging her Reishi bullets, and he was able to, like I said, he was able to dodge them, and he was able to glide close to her and just plant his able to plant his hand in her face, and he said like a few words to her and just threw her into a nearby building that was close to Nemu and Mayuri Kodatsuchi. And that's when Mayuri goes to state that that Charlotte Coolhorn basically had missed, and Charlotte Coolhorn goes to say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's just like a mere coincidence." Obviously, he wanted to hit him. And then that's when it switches over to Bambi, who obviously managed to fly out from the rubble and tries to fly towards Charlotte Coolhorn. And Charlotte Coolhorn obviously was wondering like, he says something to her, and then that's when he decided to do his signature technique, in which he had performed against Yumachika in the past, was like making his hands form the shape of a heart, and that's how he was able to release that massive Zero, and it just basically obliterated Bambi. I mean, I'm not even sure if she's dead or not, but she could be dead or could just be badly wounded, but I would assume that she could be dead. So your guess is probably as good as mine. I'm not sure, but maybe it doesn't matter. And that's when Gigi finds out that Bambi was no match for Charlotte Coolhorn, So that's when she decides to bring out her ultimate weapon, and judging by Mayuri Kurotsuchi's expression when she said "Captain," he obviously know who it was, and we can tell by that. At first, I couldn't tell by that shoe who it was, but once I flipped over to the next page, it was Toshiro Hitsugaya in the form of a zombie wearing a Quincy-clad outfit, holding his zanpakuto in his right hand, holding his scabbard in the other, just looking down in a zombified expression. And that's when Mayuri Kurotsuchi basically say, like, oh, I see. So this is going to be like a very tough situation. And that was basically the end of the chapter. All right, let's get into this discussion. To be honest, when I saw that last page and saw Toshiro Hitsugaya as a zombie, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, Kubo, what kind of ideas do you have, running through that big mind of yours, man? I mean, Toshiro as a zombie, I mean, even though I'm not, Toshiro obviously, didn't die. I mean, the last time, I believe when we saw Toshiro in a chapter, I think was after fighting Kongdu, I believe, after the major fight that those two had basically had. I think it was the last time we saw him, basically. I'm not sure, but yeah, Toshiro, he was pretty messed up, but he didn't die though. But obviously, I guess Gigi had snuck up behind him while he was injured, just managed to splash some of her blood onto him or something. I mean, I don't know where was Rangiku at the time when this happened. Was she like far away? I think, hold on. No, I think she was messed up. Obviously, I think she was still like on the ground, beaten up, like all messed up. I'm not sure, but yeah. So I guess she was somewhere else at the time where Toshiro was transformed into a zombie. So yeah, now the odds are definitely against Mayuri and the 4 Raw card. Like, how are they gonna stand up against a zombified Toshiro Hitsugaya who is now under the control of Gigi? Now that it's gonna be some trouble there. It's not gonna be an easy match. So, like I said, man, I was just shocked when I first saw that. Now, like I said, now I am starting to fathom it. I am starting to fathom the idea that now he's a zombie. But, yeah, man, it just shocked the heck out of me. I mean, just to see that happening, him standing up there in the air as a zombie and Quincy clad, to be honest, like, when did Gigi have the time to, strip him out of his clothes and then put him in a clad of Quincy, like a Quincy outfit, like a long coat, like boots and all that? I'm like, wow. She probably had a fun time doing that, obviously, taking all his clothes off and crap, That's what she probably, obviously she's into, weird things like that, so, that's pretty weird. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty interesting chapter, to be honest. To see that happening is a big twist, obviously, like an ultimate twist of events to even happen in the first place. So yeah, that's pretty shocking. Obviously, it was a shocker to those who are absolutely Toshiro Hitsugaya fans. So I mean, I'm not that much of a Toshiro Hitsugaya fan. I think he's cool, but I probably won't. He's not really on my list of like my top favorite characters of Bleach. But yeah, he's pretty cool, but he's not, like I said, on my list. So anyways. So yeah, I know you like I said, you Toshiro fans out there are obviously pissed off to even see that. So yeah, like I said, man, shocked everybody. So yeah, like I said, it's a pretty interesting chapter. I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to think of what else to say right now. But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say for now, man. That was like a really big twist to even come about in this chapter. It's pretty interesting. That's all. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say for now, man. Leave your thoughts and your comments down down below in the comment section down below. Tell me what do you think? Give me your predictions as to what next week's chapter is going to be like, considering the fact that Toshiro is going to wreak like lots of havoc, and just try to predict as to what the outcome is going to be like. Obviously, like how it's going to be like are the wrong cards going to die off real easily, or it's going to be a pretty good even matchup? Just tell me what you think. I would like to know. So, you just gotta wait until next week and see what happens, Yeah, that's all I gotta say for now, guys, Until next time, guys. This is Romar492, guys. I am signing out.